listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am being closely monitored and supervised, and
yes, he is. Hi, everyone.
And she's making faces at me. You think I'm kidding, but she's actually sitting here making faces at me tonight before we started. We're so glad you joined us tonight. If you haven't gone there for a while, check out givegod90.com. Don't forget, if you're looking for a summer reading list, something to take on vacation with you, something to take to the beach with you, Tradition and Truth, and God's Universe, God's Rules. If you're looking for something to study, and I've heard this from a couple of people now, this is not an easy read, but Inheriting Lies is the one you want. And trust me, when you read it, you're going to want a Bible sitting by you, because you're going to double check on me. I hope. Anyway, that's what I'd like for you to do. If you were listening the other day, I said that I had planned to speak about vigilance, and I kind of did. But that what we talked about was not really a distraction. It needed to be addressed. And we're going to look a little bit today about vigilance, distractions, and being vigilant means that you're watchful, you're ready to take action. And that's why I use the analogy of a lifeguard, right? I said a lifeguard's responsibility is to watch the people while they're in the water and hopefully prevent anyone from drowning. But that means that they need to be ready and willing and able to take the appropriate action if the need arises. You certainly wouldn't allow, or hopefully wouldn't allow, your child to swim near a lifeguard who was sleeping, or worse, couldn't swim himself or herself. How are you going to rescue someone in the deep end of the swimming pool or in the middle of the ocean? Well, not the middle of the ocean, but, deeper at the ocean where there's big waves, if you can't swim? It just wouldn't make any sense, right? Growing up at the beach, we knew a lot of lifeguards, and most of them were very well aware of their duty, right? Now, sometimes somebody would get the job and he didn't understand the responsibility that went with it. It's I'm going to say it, the typical lifeguard. They want to sit in the stands and have all the cute girls come up and talk to the lifeguard, right? Because that's what happens at the beach. It's just part of life. But when you have somebody that's doing a job and they don't quite understand it, it's not just confined to lifeguards. Because believers are a lot like that. They see themselves as needing to keep people from drowning in sin. Some do, right? That's how they see themselves. Well, we're here to keep people from, dying to sin. Where does it say that in the Bible? Just asking. Some believers do exactly what the overzealous lifeguards do, right? They try to keep people safe by confining them to a point that's very, very far from any danger. Some try to prevent people from going in the deep end of the pool. At the ocean, there's some lifeguards who don't even like you to go, out past where the waves are breaking. There's some lifeguards, a lot of beaches have these buoys placed out, and it says, okay, on a good day, when there's no riptides or anything like that, you can swim as far as these buoys are placed out there. And there's a lot of lifeguards that will blow that whistle and call you in even though there's no danger. Many Christian denominations tell people not to drink alcohol, not to gamble in any way. Others say, oh, you can't go dancing. Oh, you can't go to a movie. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. Nothing like that. Of course, drinking alcohol is not forbidden in the Bible unless you're a Levitical priest who's going into the temple to work, right, to serve your duty. David, of course, danced. Casting lots was something that was done often, and, it was done to remove any prejudice from any person. If you cast lots, they figured it was up to the Creator to decide who was going where, what to do, which direction to go. Movies are not mentioned in the Bible. They didn't have movies when it was written. But partaking in certain activities that either listens to something that may distract us from the Creator's Word, yeah, that's mentioned. So what does it mean to be vigilant from a biblical perspective? Isn't that an interesting question? Well, the best example is probably found in Judges chapter 7, if you want to read that passage.
Then the Lord said to Gideon, "There are still too many men. Take the men down to the water, and I will test them for you there. If I say, 'This man will go with you,' he will go. But if I say, 'That one will not go with you,' he will not go." So Gideon led the men down to the water. There the Lord said unto him, "Separate them. Those who drink water by lapping it up like a dog will be in one group. Those who bend down to drink will be in another group." There were 300 men who used their hands to bring water to their mouths. They lapped it as a dog does. All the rest got down on their knees to drink. Then the Lord said to Gideon, "I will save you using the 300 men who lapped the water, and I will allow you to defeat Midian. Let all the other men go to their homes." Judges 7, 4-7.
Now, why in the world would you take men into battle who are lapping water up like a dog? Well, that's the way it reads, but did you catch the implication? The men who leaned down over the water, they did not display vigilance. You see, when you get down on your knees and you stick your face in the water, you can't see what's going on around you. You can't be watchful. You don't know what's happening. If you're not watchful, you're not ready. The military today calls that, I believe, Condition 1. You've got to be aware of your surroundings. You've got to know what's out there. But if you cup your hands and you bring that water up to you and then you drink it, you can still be watching. You're not in a compromised position. You're ready for action. And these are the kinds of people that our Creator is looking for. The people who are watching, they're aware. They're watching for the Almighty Himself. Remember what Yeshua Jesus said to the Samaritan woman in John chapter 4? "The hour cometh and now is, when true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father seeks such to worship Him." Isn't that interesting? The ones who are not easily distracted, the ones who are paying attention to what's important, the ones who are remaining focused. Psalm 88:15, "From my youth I was afflicted and near death. I have borne your terrors, I am distracted." And there's also a warning about being deceived in Psalm 119:67. "Before I was afflicted, I was deceived. But now I keep your word." Believers should stay focused on what's important, living the way they're designed to live. David says, "Before I was troubled, I was deceived." He understood that his deception caused his trouble. And when he was troubled, he was distracted. The world we live in today, it's full of distractions, isn't it? And even believers have their own set of distractions. And we see them all the time. Yeah, we get to see everything from the shape of the earth to what we should be eating. Even something as simple to understand as when the end of the age will come. I really don't care if the earth we currently live on is flat or spherical. It doesn't really matter unless you're a navigator. I'm more concerned with the description we have, that we've been actually given, of the new heaven and new earth, because that's the one we're going to inhabit for eternity. What we eat matters because it can actually directly affect your physical and mental well-being. When we eat the things the Creator tells us not to eat, we're more apt to get sick. When we don't feel good physically, it affects the choices we make. As for the end of the age, it will come. Trust me, it will come. It doesn't matter if we're ready for it or not. It will happen because the Almighty has said it will happen. Believers argue about evolution, and a lot of them succumb to believing in some form of it. And they often do it without realizing it or recognizing it. There was no Stone Age, there was no Bronze Age, there was no Iron Age. They all happened at the same time if you read the Bible. The reasons we see different tools and different layers of rock is because of Noah's flood. Plain and simple, it explains it. People get distracted by giants, the Nephilim. Some even want to claim that they must have survived the flood. Well, in a way they did, but not like you're thinking. Noah and his family were pre-flood dwellers. All of the proteins in their DNA that survived the flood, their children's children, and so forth, carried that. Nothing else was able to survive the flood. It didn't happen all over again. It would not have been allowed. That landmass that was one big piece in the beginning, pre-flood, was broken up, destroyed. And what we have today is something totally different. And all of these are nothing more than distractions. Some of them are more important than others, but they're distractions. They take our focus off what's really important, and that is the sacred word of the Creator. Even though some of these things are contained in there. Now, the biblical concept of being vigilant can be seen in Ezekiel as well. And this is kind of cool, the way we're going to do this. Go ahead and read that.
As for you, human being, I have made you a watchman for Israel. If you hear a message from me, you must warn them for me. I might say to the wicked person, wicked man, you will surely die. But you might not speak to warn the evil person to stop doing evil. Then he will die while still a sinner. But I will punish you for his death. But you might warn a wicked person to stop doing evil. If he does not, he will die while still a sinner. But you have saved your life. Ezekiel 33, 7 through 9.
Okay. Now, where in this is there any suggestion to hold anyone back from the edge of danger? It's not there. We're not lifeguards in that respect, because our responsibility is to deliver the message, to warn the one doing evil that they risk death if they continue. But if they continue, their blood is on their hands, not ours. Now, this is an individual warning. It comes right after a very detailed job description for the watchman, just the couple of verses before that. Go ahead and read that.
The Lord spoke his word to me. He said, Human being, speak to your people. Say to them, I might bring a war against a land. The people of the land may choose one of their men. They may make him their watchman. This watchman might see the enemy coming to attack the land, and he blows the trumpet and warns the people. A person might hear the sound of the trumpet but do nothing. Then the enemy will come and kill him. That person will be responsible for his own death. He heard the sound of the trumpet, but he did not do anything. So he is to blame for his own death. If he had done something, he would have saved his own life. But the watchman might see the enemy coming to attack and not blow the trumpet, so the people are not warned. Then the enemy comes and kills one of them. That person has died because of his own sin. But I will punish the watchman for the person's death. Ezekiel 33, 1-6.
See, when we see danger, we are supposed to take action. Right? That should be our response. Now, if the people that you warn don't respond appropriately, we're not held accountable for their death. It's on them. Yet so many Christian denominations want to make it sound like it's our job to save souls. That's not the job of a believer. We deliver the message, we deliver the warning. But many believers today are silent. They're distracted. They're deceived. And they remain silent. Some even go so far as to make fun of other believers who blow the trumpet and deliver the message. You know, they don't want to wake anybody up in the middle of the night. Well, you know, when something's happening, you know, if your house is on fire, you're going to want to be woken up. Yeah, woken up. If somebody's sick, needs to go to the emergency room, somebody needs to wake up. I'm going to put this very, very bluntly. If you're offended, well, be offended. Living a lifestyle that includes murdering children is sin, and it directly conflicts with the sacred word of our Creator. That's pretty basic. It's the life of an innocent. Living a homosexual lifestyle is sin. It directly conflicts with the sacred word of our Creator. Taking something that's not yours is sin. It directly conflicts with the word of our Creator. Adding to the sacred word of our Creator is sin. It directly conflicts with the sacred word of our Creator. Eating anything that is unclean, while not directly considered a sin if there's nothing else left to eat, conflicts with the word of our Creator when there are clean foods available. There's plenty of things we should remain focused on that directly involves our relationship with the Almighty. We don't need to be distracted by deception or trouble. Right? You know, the joke in our house is, oh, something shiny. You know, when you're in the middle of a sentence and something catches your eye, oh, something shiny. And then you forget what you were going to say. If you are given the words to speak and told to speak, but you remain silent, it is a sin and directly conflicts with the sacred words of our Creator. It's that simple. If you're told to blow the trumpet and you don't want to wake people up in the middle of the night, their eternity is on you and you will be punished for their death. But if you're vigilant, if you're watching and you're ready to take action, if you deliver the message, if you sound the warning, If you're living the way our Creator designed you to live, and they reject you and the Creator, their death is not your responsibility. But only you can choose to do the things that lead to your rescue from this broken and cursed world. You can't make that choice for anybody else. You are not given the job of being an overzealous lifeguard. It's that simple. Your job is to watch and warn the people who choose evil over good and darkness over light. Hopefully they will hear you and heed the warning. Hopefully. But it's not up to you to drag them kicking and screaming out of the deep end of the pool. And you certainly cannot rescue them if they choose to drown themselves. You just can't do it. Only and only and only the Creator can do that. But we can be there if they choose to repent. We can be there to be the example for them, to be their guide. We can, if we choose, to live the way we are designed to live. And if you're not living the way you're designed to live, then you're swimming very far out in the ocean and often too far from the beach to hear the lifeguard, whether he's shouting, whether he's blowing the whistle, whether he's waving his hands. Anything else, you're out in very deep water. Now, if you're living the way you're designed to live, it's possible you could walk on water. Maybe. But there's an old joke. What did God ask Noah? And I'm going to ask that to you right now, because there's a lot of you out there that think you're on dry land and you're in very, very deep water. And what God asked Noah, how long can you tread water? Now, there's something to think about until we come back on Monday. Oh, wait, Monday's a holiday in the United States.
Yes, it is.
Thursday. Aren't I glad I remembered that?
Right.
Or somebody been waiting for me to be on live, and we wouldn't be. So until next week, we wish you many blessings, everyone.